what we are going to be doing is finding the measures of center with a group of data. Okay, so remember when we watched the Bill Nye video, we had something where he had a graph that looked like this. Do you remember what we called that? Anybody remember? He called this a bell curve or a bell-shaped curve. Okay, and now a bell curve tells us where our data sits in relation to the other numbers in that data set. So I can tell right now that the middle of the data is right there at the top of my bell curve. I can also tell that the middle 50% of my data is the peak, the whole group right there. So it kind of tells us some information, but it's just a visual. So what we are going to be doing is actually calculating that middle or that middle 50%. So the first thing we're going to look at is mean and median. Mean is what? Daniel? Right, it's the average. So we add all of these numbers up. Everybody, go ahead and do that. And what do we get? Everybody should be adding these up. Amir? 18. So then we divide by however many numbers there are in this data set. How many numbers are there? So I divide by the 6 numbers that are in that data set. 18 divided by 6 is 3. So my average number is 3. The median is the next one we would have to do. The median is the middle number. The middle number. Think of median. Anytime you hear the word median, it means middle. So like if you guys ever heard people talk about the median of the road, it is that center in between. So think of I-75. You got lanes that go north and lanes that go south, and you got the big grassy part in the middle. We call that big grassy part in the middle the median. So the median of a set of numbers is the middle number. Now the first thing we have to do, you have to do this. People are reluctant to do it, and they will always get it wrong. You have to rewrite the data set in numerical order. So I'm going to write them down. 1, 2, I got 2 2s, so I got to put them both down. 3, 4, and 6. Okay, so the median, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 numbers. So the median is going to fall right here in between. Breaks my group into 2 halves, doesn't it? So what number falls between 2 and 3? 2.5. Now what happens if you can't do that in your head? What do I do? If those numbers that it fell between were, there's a big gap, or even decimals, how would I find what number falls in between those two? You would just find the average of the two. So 2 plus 3 divided by 2. Okay? Questions on these two? All right. We're going to try one then. Okay, no, I don't want to do that one. Yeah, we'll do that one. Go ahead. Find the mean and median of this data set. All right, so let's go with the mean. What is the average? What'd you get, Mime? 4.6. Is that correct? Yes, because when we add all of these up, we got 23. So we got 23, and then we had to divide by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers. And that's how we got the 4.6. The median, we had to put them in numerical order. So that was 2, 3, 4, 6, 8. So the median was 4. How many people got both those right? Good job, good job, good job. Okay, the other thing we will have to do then is find the middle 50, the middle group. So we call that middle 50, the middle 50%, the middle group. We call that the interquartile range. Okay, this is what we call a box plot or a box and whisker plot. And what it does is it shows me the data broken up into 4 equal groups. So 1/4 of the data, 1/4, 1/4, 1/4. Now, the middle 50 is from one end of the box to the other end of the box. So this number falls on what, 3? This end of the box falls on 11. And what does it mean when we say you have to find the range of anything? What? It means we find, what operation do we do? Subtract, right? We find the distance between these 2 points, we subtract. 11 minus 3 is 8. So our interquartile range, the middle 50%, is separated by 8 numbers. Now, not too worried about analyzing this stuff yet and figuring out what it means yet. We will be doing that later on. That's what we will do later this week. But right now we are just focusing on the calculations, the terms. Okay? What though if they give us a set of numbers and say, what is the interquartile range? Oh, well, there's no graph, is there? So here's what we have to do. We have to put them in numerical order. Everybody help me out with this one. What's my smallest number? 29. I'm going to cross them off as I go. What's my next one? Wow. Thanks for helping, people. What's my next number? 40. What's my next number? Another 40. Next number? What's my next number? Can't hear. 44. Another 44. What else? 52. 59. 63 and 63. All right, so remember interquartile range. What is the root word for interquartile? What is the root word? What? Quart, is that right? Quart and or quarter And that tells us that we're breaking things up into 4 groups, right? A quarter, there's 4 quarters in a dollar, there's 4 quarts in a gallon. Quart means we're breaking them up into fourths. So the first thing we have to do is find the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So my middle is right there. I broke it up into 2 equal halves, right? But quartile tells us I have to break it up into 4 equal parts. So now what do you think we do? What do I have to do to break it up into 4 equal parts? Anybody? Anybody? Lorelai, what do you think? The middle of what? Well, I found the middle of my whole set, right? That was my median. Now, how do I break it up into 4 equal parts? Divided by what? Well, right. I got a bottom half, cut it in half, right? So there, that would be 40 down here, right? And then I cut my top half in half. That's 59. So now the interquartile range is the difference between those two numbers. 59 minus 40 equals 19. That just means my middle 50% is separated by 19 numbers. We'll talk about what that means later on. So let's do 1. This one seems to be getting people. Let's try this one. Interquartile range. So the first thing they say is, what is the range? What do I do for the range on this? What does range mean? We're not doing interquartile range yet, just what's the range? What do you think, Matthew? What do we do to find the range? You subtract your biggest and smallest numbers. But before I do that, what should I be doing? Put them all in numerical order. So go. Everybody put them in numerical order. Find the range, the difference, subtract the highest and lowest numbers. Oh, they're already put in numerical order, aren't they? Ooh, that's nice. So all I do is find the distance between 28.6 and 25.4. So what's that? What, Matthew? What? 3.2. Okay, now they want us to find the interquartile range. So that means my median is 26.4. So you go ahead, find the other two numbers for the interquartile range. So my bottom half is only two numbers, isn't it? My top half is only two numbers. Okay, so what did I get for the bottom half? What did you get, Lorela? 25.6. What did we get for the top half? What did you get, Jeremy? Do you remember what you do to find out what number falls right there? You add these up. You add the two numbers up and divide by 2 to figure out what number falls right in between them. So 27.3 plus 28.6 divide by 2. We get what, Lorelai? 27.95. That's weird. Now we just find the difference between those two numbers. That would be my interquartile range. You might see it written as IQR. Okay. Now, on one of these questions, it says, right here, it says, describe the variability of the data set. Well, if my IQR is 3, does that have a wide variability, low variability, no variability? What do you think? What does that word variability mean? If something varies, what does that mean? What? Right, a lot of possibilities. It changes a lot, right? A lot of options. Well, if I have an IQR of 3, does that mean it changes a lot? Is there a lot of options? No, you only have a distance of 3 numbers between our middle 50. So this would be a low variability. What if you have an IQR of, let's say, 15 or 20? That would have more of a high variability. Now, not too stressed out about identifying that so much right now. We'll analyze more what the variability means later this week, but just to let you know that on these, you got to be careful and what the word variability means. Okay? So the remainder of the time is yours.